Happy New Year. And let's start the new year with the second episode of our What Next After PhD. We have with us Dr. Ritesh Odha. You all know that he is PhD in chemistry, MSc in bioanalytical sciences, BSc in biotechnology, everything done from Mumbai University. And he has a vast experience, more than 1 decade, I mean more than 10 years experience in pharmaceutical, biopharmaceutical, chemicals, food industry, feed industry, environment industry, clinical diagnosis, biomedical research and academics. So a lot of experience he has, and he is here to help us, to guide us what we do next after PhD. The first episode of our this series had how to go about PhD. Today we discuss what next after PhD, and here we discuss, does PhD guarantee job? What kind of job opportunities do we get? Can we start our own ventures? And any message from his personal experience, his opinion to our viewers who wanted to do PhD. So let's hear from him. Welcome, Dr.
Thank,
Ritesh.
thank you. Dr. Ritu, for that descriptive, information about myself and that introduction that you gave. And thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to share again my experiences and my expertise with the crowd, and for the betterment of all the students and everyone else who are listening to these sessions, and who wish to get benefited from these discussions. Thanks a lot.
So I just wanted to ask you, Dr. Ritesh, today this episode also, does the audience get the link to the presentation?
Yeah, definitely they do, like last time, and it's all available for them for their reference always.
So that's definitely a help from the last presentation, the last episode of the series that we had. I got a lot of good reviews. A lot of people, a lot of students who wanted to do PhD asked me a lot of questions on Instagram handle, on LinkedIn handle, on YouTube comments, and some WhatsApp me too. So a lot of things that help people to understand how to go about it. We start with the first question of this episode today, or the rollover question number 9. Does having the PhD degree guarantee a good job?
Okay, simply feeling proud of the PhD as a degree would not give you a job, because it's good that you are a PhD graduate. However, it's more than a degree, because you're like the saying goes that that the journey is more important than the destination. What you learn while you do your PhD is something that will help you in the longer run. When I say what you learn, it's about what skills are you trying to develop in yourself. What sort of training or what sort of knowledge based research activities are you doing along this entire journey that will help you in your job? Okay. PhD is also about engaging in in-depth research along with thorough understanding of research issues and ability to solve key problems with exceptional analytical and observational skills. So this is what becomes more important. So the PhD will get you to a job. Okay, yes, where PhD as a requirement, as a mandatory requirement, it is that okay, you need to be a PhD. Okay, there it will help you out. But then to be successful later on, you need to have those skills, or you need to have that learning or that knowledge coming in into you. Because like it is said that okay, what has got you here will not get you there. Like this wordings go, PhD will get you to a job, but then to sustain it and to grow along that the path, the corporate path, the skills, the attitude that you have developed along your journey of PhD, that becomes important. What are the abilities that you have got? What are the analytical or the observational skills that have you developed? Because people these days, they need to be a good listener. They need to be good in their observational skills. So all that becomes important. And also the PhD graduate must learn to work for long hours, because this is how they get into the patience which is required to work along for longer times and also not give up. So these attributes are important that are developed in the course of PhD because you're doing your research, you work on your experiments, and you have to wait for the observations and the conclusions to happen in the expected way. So you need to wait. You need to have that patience which get developed in you. Then you need to analyze and solve complex problems. So that also goes along in a long way when you get into a job. Then you handle every situation with calmness. That calmness is really important that you develop in yourself. That okay, things will take time, but then okay, not give up upon on yourself and your abilities, and then have that confidence to move along. And these traits are not only required to become an academic, but they are also important if you're working in other areas of work like research, R&D, or any other scientific fields. So this is how a PhD is important, or the skills that are developed in the course of PhD are important in a job scenario.
Okay, so basically, I've understood that patience, as we discussed in our previous episode, also is the most important thing. And वो कहते हैं ना uh, रास्ता ज्यादा important होता है मंजिल से. So though you were saying
Yes,
that, so the journey is more important than the destination. So
yes,
that
yes, yes.
teaches you more. Okay.
More,
So
yes.
coming to the next question, that is the second question for today, or question number 10. If you see the first episode also, so the role of question number 10. What all kind of jobs should one think if one has completed PhD? This is a very common question people do
Yes.
ask, so please enlighten us.
So people who are doing, say, PhD in a scientific subject, for example, they can get into a job as a scientist, which can be into research and development. Then people who are good in teaching, okay, if they think that okay, they are good in teaching abilities, then they can get into the job of a teacher. So that is what is important. Like I said, that people need to realize their strengths, what they are good at along the journey of PhD, and then select the line. Like they can become professors if people are good at guiding people who think that okay, they have their own mind, they can guide people to a particular research project, or they can teach. Then again, they can become professors at some universities. Then people who are good at writing, who are having good in the written communications, so they can become a technical writer. These days, people they write a lot of journals, research articles, research papers. This is also booming up in India nowadays. So people can become a technical writer. Okay. Then people who are good into clinical research, they can become a clinical research manager also. Wherein these days people are looking at new drug discoveries, new drug formulations. Then people can get into becoming a clinical research manager. And in that also people who think that okay, they're good at documentation work, they're good at reviewing the documents, and they can sit and review the documents, and then they can go for some corrections in the review documents or in the standard operating protocols. They can get into the quality assurance or the regulatory norms. And then people who are say out and out extrovert, people who can know that they can connect with people well, they can get into the sales or the marketing job. Because these days it is trending that people after doing a PhD they also do an MBA. So that is also one of those fields that is really exciting for people. And then this is about say the designations wherein the people have to can get into. But if you talk about industries, then people can get into pharma, biotech, which is into like pharmaceuticals or biotechnology. Then people can get into any of the chemical industries like agrochemicals or polymer industries or specialty and fine chemicals. Then people can become you know the clinical diagnostics people nowadays. Because of COVID, you see there are people there's a spur of people who can do clinical diagnostics, people who can work on kits, people who can do some immunoassays, people who can do such rapid identification or clinical studies. Then food and environment. Food safety has been one of the priorities in India lately. Environmental safety is also gaining a lot of importance. So that's how that people can look into food and environmental safety also these days, and people can get into instrumentation. Like for people like me who are interested in analytical instruments, so then yes, they can get into the field of analytical instruments as say application scientists or as product managers or as technical managers or as marketing managers. So it's diverse. So people have to be clearly understanding what their strong points are, the strengths are, and then accordingly you can choose the designation and the industry that they want to opt for.
This, what you have told now, I think is the very important slide and a very important information that you have given, because जहाँ तक मुझे पता है, as far as I know, people think PhDs can become scientists, they can become professors. Technical writers is a completely new thing that I think is there, because not many go for this till now. And sales executive, I have seen PhDs in in this industry, and sales in instrumentation IT industry, but not many are there. जिनसे भी मैंने आज तक बात की है, to whomever I've spoken to, and I've got very good reviews when they are in sales, because it gives them a kick and they feel very satisfied after that कि चलो like आज हमने एक बड़ा achievement किया है. तो I think that's a very good thing. People enjoy being in sales, obviously, if you have that kind of personality. And people who have done PhD restrict themselves only to education and research activities, but there is more to it. I actually will tell students who are new students and you are taking a PhD that there are industries waiting for you. Please do not restrict yourself. And this slide is very important. And you can, if you have any queries, please DM us as a YouTube comment or an Instagram or on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help you. And Dr. Ritesh Oza will be happy to help you. You can always put a comment to him on the LinkedIn and he can guide you. So this is very important. I think this is the most important slide that we have. Now, the next following question that we have is, where do these PhDs actually go?
Okay. So, like we said, that when we look into the type of industries that people can opt for, so there are two types of industries. One is academia that we said, and another one is into industry. So these are the two main type of industries in which people opt for. So, like we said, that when people go for industry, they can become technical writers, they can get into research and development, they can get into quality control, they can get into quality assurance, they can get into regulatory norms, or people, like I said, can explore the sales field also, sales or marketing, because there what happens is that you get your boost or you get that kick very instantly, because you get your no you get bonuses, you get incentives, you get appreciations, you get awards, so that no you feel more positive about being there, and hence you feel more recognized and rewarded in that particular field. So this is the reason why that people who think that okay they can connect to people, they have good presentation skills, they have good networking skills, they can then get into the sales and the marketing side also. Then if we talk about academic jobs, then that can be teaching in lectures or in seminars. Nowadays, because of the COVID thing, people who are good in their online presentations or their online communications, they have, like like you for example, you have been using very innovative ways to teach people around and share your knowledge. So people who are say good in it can do such things also. Like people are doing online tutors or teaching these days. People who are marking and doing assessing work of papers or research articles, writing it up research articles and publishing the findings is something that is gaining importance, because sometimes what happens is people can do their research but they are not good at writing. So they need help of people who can write out the research article for them in a particular way, then applying for research grants, then analyzing data and preparing reports, presenting the work at conferences and at seminars, and then do the routine administrative work as well. So these are the two kind of jobs that people can think of if they have completed the PhD.
Okay. So there are a lot of things to choose from. But now the
Yeah.
most exciting question that we have is the salary. So what is the salary package that is expected? Everybody wants money. So how much money can we get? Please tell us.
Yeah. So, money, I would say, is one part. Yeah, it is important. But then at the end of the day, it is the satisfaction that you get after being in that particular job profile that is more important. So, if we talk about the three different job profiles that we discussed, first is the technical field. Okay. The second one is academics. Third is the non-technical areas. So when we talk about the technical field, in India, people who are PhD can make around around 10 lakhs roughly, just an average. So because that can range from 6 lakhs to 14 lakhs. So that
Per
also
year.
depends whether per year. Yeah. So that depends whether you are a research scientist, you are an R&D manager, up to what designations are you starting from. So if you are an entry level research scientist, you can expect to earn an average compensation of around 5 to 6 lakhs. Coming to future progressions as you grow ahead, or if you get directly the position of an R&D manager, you can get around 10 lakhs per annum, around 10 lakhs. So that all depends upon the type of company and how much are they ready to pay. So there is this is based on a lot of circumstances and terms and conditions for sure. But what is important is that you need to have critical thinking, like we said. You need to have problem solving skills, and you need to be good at decision making if you want to get into the technical field. Then, when it comes to academics, in academics, like that also depends whether are you getting into an IIT or are you getting into a non-IIT type of a setup. If you're getting into an IIT, then you might get around 12 lakh as your starting salary per annum. But then for that, you need to fulfill their conditions as to you need to be eligible for it. Secondly, apart from the salary, when we go into academics, you get entitled to R&D assistance. So that includes your initiation grant. You can get a grant for your equipment and lab, and then professional development allowances. So all of these are there. So when we talk about a university will expect at least 3 years of experience for the position of assistant professor as per the UGC rules. A candidate with less experience joining to the college on contractual basis are given pay band of around say 15,000 to 40,000 that allow them to withdraw an average of around 70,000 on initial joining. So this is about academics. Then when we talk about the non-technical areas, then there is a huge disparity when it comes to salary opportunity for a PhD in the non-technical areas, like people who do it in say music or economics or any such field. So who are doing PhD in art, they draw an average salary of around 4 to 12 lakhs, depending on the organization. And a PhD, say in music, would draw around 2 to 4 lakhs. That would mostly settle for jobs in high school and colleges. So, people or the PhD holders in different specialized areas of chemical or biological or physical sciences, they can join many other organizations. So, there are government organizations, there are private organizations, and they can draw a decent salary ranging from 5 lakhs to 12 lakhs. So, the working areas for a chemistry graduate, like for in my case, is diverse. So their salaries and factors that have a positive impact on salary include their postgraduate qualification, their experience, and their management responsibilities.
Okay.
So it is all depending upon your experience as well as your skills that the company is seeing into. So this is how it goes. And frankly speaking, research and developers in industry, they generally earn more than the colleagues who are at research institute. Because what matters is how well you perform, how good you are, and what you earn compared to other employees at the similar companies. So this is what matters. This is what is subjective actually.
Basically, it depends upon the individual. The,
True.
the,
Yes.
we conclude it depends on you yourself, like how good you are, how good your soft skills are, how good your personality is, and
Yes.
how good you are with your colleagues, and
Yeah.
how good you are at jumping other from one job to other job in
Yeah.
that way. So basically, technical field is the one where you can actually get what you want, right?
Yeah.
More than in academics, it's more of more of money in technical field. But is it more of learning also in technical field? Means-
Yes, yes, yes. There is a lot of learning that you see in this because you need to be constantly communicating with people. You need to have good interpersonal skills. You need to have good presentation skills. You try to work along as a team, and then you are pretty much focused on a particular target or something that you need to achieve or something that you need to deliver upon. Then your time management becomes a lot more different. Okay, so lot many things that you learn in this.
So this looks a bit pressurizing also. You're
A
on
bit.
constant pressure.
Yes, but then, like we say that a diamond is made out of constant pressure in a mine. So only when you get that particular pressure is only then you shine. So
True, true, very true. I agree. So this we discussed. Jobs मिल सकती हैं क्या हमको? But अगर मुझे खुद का start करना है, like if someone has done PhD and someone wants to start their own venture, so is
yeah.
it possible? This is our next question. Is it possible for one to start their own ventures after doing PhD?
Yes, it is. It is possible because the advent of startups has changed the entire PhD ecosystem. So if you go back in time, then the scope of PhD was limited only to academia, like we said. However, today because of the amalgamation of academia and startup has left many options for PhD to explore. So nowadays, even research institutes they have something called as the innovation park, or they have an innovation center, wherein they have these small companies or these startups, wherein they allow them to grow, and once they allow them to grow, they allow these people, the key ventures, to invest in them. So this is how they develop some entrepreneurs, some companies, some startup companies, and once they are able to, independently go out and exist, then they go out and they exist on their own. So nowadays, many of the research institutes are developing this culture of innovation cells. That's how it goes. And then PhD graduates are willing to join a thriving and a new organization where they use their knowledge-based skills to design new products through exceptional research and development capabilities. Because nowadays, people are also open to working in a startup because with the way that the startups are growing these days and then they being taken over or the way they become successful, people have started realizing that okay, it is okay to start a new company, and also if someone is starting a new company, then they can join in and then they can flourish and then they can grow because there your scope is much wider. There you have to play multiple roles, so you develop yourself extensively. And then nowadays, PhD graduates are also looking forward to work in a startup environment because they get to gain experience and then join academia where they can use their skills and expertise in a productive way.
It's
So
nice.
that's how it goes.
Okay. And last time we had discussed a lot of students going from India to some other place. Today we discussed the next question, that is question number 13. Any message for the students who are willing to come to India for PhD? The students coming inside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are many points that people need to keep in mind. That first thing is that they need to check the organization's repute. Means they need to check out the ranking of that particular institute, how it ranks at a particular level. Because fake PhD is budding like a menace in India these
Yes.
days. You need to remain vigilant while selecting the university or organization for pursuing your PhD. You need to check the genuineness of the institute, and also at the same time, the quality of PhD research that is being generated by that institute is also important. Having said that, uh, population and competition is always a situation here in India, wherein there have been oversupply of PhD. So this may sound unpleasant to hear, but for India, the second largest populated country in the world, huge number of PhD degrees being awarded. So the competition tends to be very high. So you need to really understand what makes you stand out from others, and this will take you a long way in your career. So that's what
Yes.
is it.
Actually, a lot of competition is there, a lot of population is there. I agree completely. Each and every word I agree. So now the other question that actually a student asked me, a student of mine actually asked me this question. Question number
Mhm.
14. How does one financially support themselves when one is pursuing PhD? Because
Okay.
at that age, you cannot take money from your parents and from any other relatives, but still you need to spend your money on your personal things, on your professional things, on your studies. So how does
Yeah.
one go about it?
So in this case, what happens is that people can approach this in two ways. First is once they are into their post graduations, once they are done with it, they can apply for some fellowships. There are a lot of fellowships which are available. So they have to qualify those for those fellowships, get the fellowship, and then start with their PhD. If for some reasons people are not able to successfully get into those fellowships, then they can work in the industry of their choice, get some experience, earn some money out of it, and then after that decide and then go along with your PhD. So that would be a self-finance way of doing your PhD. So if you come back to the first point wherein I said about fellowships, so if you're trying to do it in India, then there is fellowship which is available from CSIR, which is Council for Scientific Research in India. Then there is fellowship which is available from UGC, which is the University Grant Commission. Then people who want to do research in the field of biomedical R&D, so they can apply for funding from ICMR, which is the Indian Council of Medical Research. People can get a JRF from Department of Biotechnology, that is DBT. And also there is Prime Minister's Fellowship, which is awarded by the Department of Science and Technology. So that is the DST which comes into picture. So with this, so if someone is doing, say, a JRF, which is the Junior Research Fellowship, for the first 2 years, they get around 40,000 per month. After that, once the JRF is complete, the first 2 years, then they can apply for the SRF. So for that, they get around 50,000 for the next 3 years. In addition to this, they also get a contingency grant of around 10,000, which is paid annually. Then, if you are doing, say, a postdoc, then you get around 50 to 60,000 per month. Then you get an tier one GRF would get around 60 to 70,000 bucks in India. So fellowships are available for you. So you need not worry about how will you be able to financially support. If you think that you have the skills, the knowledge, and the expertise that you can qualify for those exams, then yes, you can go ahead with the exams and then go ahead with it. Or alternatively, you can self-finance them later on.
How do we apply for these fellowships?
These examinations are they happen at regular interval, like the CSIR exam, which is the NET. which is the national eligibility test that used to happen two times in a year, once in June and once in December. So people need to check when those exams are coming up. And one of the important newspapers for this is the Employment News. This is a newspaper which is being printed from New Delhi. So in that newspaper, the Employment News, people get a lot of information about such examinations, about their dates, and also about some fellowships or some research associate positions which is available across India. They put it across in the Employment News, and also if there are any vacancies in any of the universities or in any of the research institutes all over India. So that is also put up in the employment. So that is a good resource for people.
So students, please make a note that internet से बाहर निकल के employment news लेनी है हम लोगों को. Just do not keep googling and keep bothering people. There's an employment news नाम का एक चीज है. You have to see that where you'll get all the information. Do not keep pestering everybody and anybody that whom you met, whom you meet. Do not ask your colleagues so much. Do not trust so much on them. Employment news sir ने बताया है वो follow करना है. Just remember this. बहुत अच्छा point है ये. Now, coming to all the best point that we'll have now is your message to all the listeners, to all the viewers who are watching us. What do you want to tell them? Your personal experience.
Okay, from my personal experience, the journey of PhD is always so much exciting that you ask a person who has done a PhD, and then he will have his long stories and his experience to tell you. But then, for a person who is getting into the industry, when you have to show it in front of the industry in a form of a paper document, that is nothing but your resume. So that shouldn't be long. Okay, you have to refrain from writing long resumes because PhD they have a lot of things to say. So generally, employers tend to ignore reading such long resume, which may put your effort in vain. So you should consider the following things before your first job. So that is important. Be practical about your job prospect and set your ambitions in the way that is achievable. So be sure that okay, what sort of job prospects should be suitable for me. So for that, I can suggest that people can prepare their own LinkedIn profiles or their profiles on job portals like Naukri.com, Monster.com, and try to be available for any vacancies. So when vacancies or information will come to you, you can see that okay, what is the strength or what is the skills that they require. Do I have that skill? If not, can I sort of develop on those skills also while I'm pursuing my PhD? Because developing your soft skills along with your technical skills become a lot more important. Keep in mind that you and your colleagues with say low qualifications that you will be treated equally in organizations. Know the keywords and the buzzwords of the sector you want to join into. So this is where you need to be updated about your own field, what is going on out there. Update yourself with the key market trends that are relevant and are in buzz. So that's what that you need to be updated online or through LinkedIn's. So you need to through LinkedIn these days you get a lot of information about your particular industry. So you need to be updated about it. Then there are many e-papers or e-newspapers which are available. So try to subscribe to them. Try to be aware about what is going out in your industry because it is not just a point that okay you remain focused on only onto your work, but then you need to explore and try to know what is going beyond the four walls of your R&D lab. So you might get paid less than you expected after doing PhD. In that case, is accept the fact and then move on. Okay. So just take it as your starting phase. That okay, for now it's less, but then it will increase, gain some experience. Okay, and then you shoot up from there. If you are making a transition from academia to a startup or an R&D firm, be ready to adapt to the changes in terms of freedom and the salary component. Okay, because when it comes to startups, okay, you have the flexibility to do lot many things, but when it comes to a big corporate, everything is well defined. Your roles, your work, which is expected. So then you need to accordingly modulate yourself and then work. Because from my journey, I have worked in corporates, then I have worked in the startups, and then I worked in the academia as well. So trust me, all of this are different ball game altogether. They're different environments, and then you need to tune yourself accordingly for it.
So
So
basically,
that's
you've
what.
tasted all industries.
Yes, yes,
So you are a person who has a lot of experience and who can tell and guide many students actually what to do. But it all depends on the individual at the end. I think
yes,
like even I was in academia, then I came into the hospital, and to me it was a very big transition. I still feel it very different at times when I remember what I was and what I am now, because you do change. There are things that require a different setup and
yes.
different knowledge also. So you need to relearn, learn, update yourself. So that is there. So you've told a very good point that we have to realize over here that students actually should make a good LinkedIn profile. That is first point. The second point that I've seen is that refrain from long resumes. क्योंकि लोग बनाते हैं, मैंने देखा है, सब कुछ लिखते हैं फ्रॉम बर्थ डेट ऑफ बर्थ, फ्रॉम मोबाइल नंबर टू ईमेल आईडी टू होम एड्रेस. दैट इज ऑल ओके, दैट कैन बी रिटन. बट टेंथ में इतना मिला था, फिर ट्वेल्थ में इतना मिला, फिर मेरा स्कूल यहाँ था, सब कुछ बहुत कुछ लिखते हैं. मैंने आज तक इतने वेबिनार्स अटेंड किए, इतने सीएमईज अटेंड किए हैं. It has to be very short. People do not read so much. Um,
Yeah.
in the end, I just want to ask one thing, that आपका एक्सपीरियंस तो बहुत अच्छा है, बट हम सिर्फ काम ही करते रह जाए ऐसा भी तो नहीं होना चाहिए ना. Like it's a lot of work after PhD. So do we get little amount of time for ourselves, for our own development, for our own growth and hobbies and some personal life or something like that? Do we have time, or we are totally soaked up?
See, that is important because you need to do your proper time management and having a good cordial and understanding relationship with the guide is also important so that you find time for yourself. That is also really important because like I said, it is not just your technical skills but your soft skills also that you need to develop along in your journey, and that will make you stand out from the others in their way. So be it your peers or be it people from somewhere else. So you need to have your own zone actually, so that okay, this is what you will be doing for yourself. So, okay, PhD would be one of those things, but then also apart from that, there are other things also that you need to work along, and you need to keep yourself going. That's important.
So yeah, that's very important. So we have our professional domain, we have a personal domain. Both have to grow simultaneously. For one PhD doing it, and after PhDs we cannot ignore personal, and for personal we cannot ignore the professional. Both have to be simultaneously done. So that is also a very important thing, because nowadays people just forget that they have a home and they're just
Yeah.
completely doing their work, and we are so engrossed in our work that phone calls related to the work, messages, emails related to the work keep coming. We have to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
So that's what that it is important that you need to identify your hobbies also. That you need to figure out okay what your hobbies are. So that can be like watching movies or reading some books or going out with friends or spending time with your family, and then make sure that okay you find time for that as well. So that is what is also defining you at the inner level. So it is also important there.
So a lot of information we got from Dr. Ritesh Oza, and he'll keep coming to the channel, spreading
Sure.
more information about how to go about things. We have a lot of plans decided, like how to write a research proposal and what are the trending topics, how to go about PhDs in immunology. So, a lot of things that we have in our mind, and he's here to help us. Students, if you have any queries, I put his LinkedIn profile in the comment box or in the description box. Please ask him directly, and he'll be happy to help. If you cannot ask him directly, or if you do not want to ask him directly, if you're an introvert person, you can write a message to me in the YouTube or DM me at my Instagram handle, or you can, if you can mail me. I would like that you would mail me. So, mails are the preferred mode of communication. So that is a good option. So, a big thank you, Dr. Ritesh, helping us know what is PhD and how to go about it. And this is New Year, 3rd January, and he still took time for us to let us know things. So it's actually a very big commitment on his part. Thank you so much, Dr. Ritesh.
Thank you, Dr. Ritu, for this opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you.